Peace, y'all. How y'all doing today? It's Grandmaster Saya back in the building, coming through with another video. Hit the share button, hit the subscribe button, drop a comment down below. And yeah, man, I just got a quick little message, that I really want to, get off my chest today, man. Here and there, now and then, I hear, a lot about Atlantis. And yeah, man, I just want to give y'all the truth on Atlantis, and I want to give y'all the truth on Thoth. You know what I mean? Tahuti, who is also known as Thoth, who also may be known as Hermes, Trismegistus, who is a very important figure in the Western world, right? And so since this figure is very important in the Western world, they want to remove this figure from Africa, right? Because they want to wipe their hands clean, from all of the teachings, right, that they got from Africa. They want to wipe their hands clean from getting civilization, from Africa. And it's just the truth, right? So you got people out here that's just anti-African, and the thing that so the case of the matter is this, right? When you have the Greeks come on the world scene in history, right? In history, they pretty much come on the scene with Alexander coming into Egypt, and his connection to Egypt, right? And it is taught, right, that a lot of these Greeks or whatever sat at the feet of ancient Egyptians and received teachings and things of that nature, right? But there is a book called The Stolen Legacy, right? Because you have a situation in Western academia where all of things that was found in Egypt are being attributed to the Greeks. They even accredit the Phoenicians, with the alphabet, and the Phoenician alphabet is modeled after what is called Medu Neter, or hieroglyphics of ancient Egypt, ancient Africa. So you have the Greeks being given the credit, right? Given the credit for, and why it's important to understand, because you have the Western world who connects themselves to that group of people, right? They see them as their ancient ancestors. But some people will argue that these people, was a Mediterranean people. They wasn't even what you may consider white people, that the Greeks and Romans were, But I guess that's a whole nother story in itself, But anyways, so through The Stolen Legacy, you have George G.M. James doing a masterful research and an investigation, right, on the Greek works and the Greek scholars. And through that masterful investigation, he comes to a lot of conclusions and inaccuracies that some of these writers and some of these people probably didn't even exist, and it's basically just downright plagiarism of ancient Egyptian works, right? So they just, they just made up a story about a certain person who lived and supposedly wrote all of these books and brought the teachings in. Okay, so that's the number one thing that has to be set into place. All right, to really understand this whole Atlantean myth, right? Because it's a person out here who's claiming that Thoth, which is a deity or a netter of ancient Egypt, all right, he's the bird with the real slim beak, which is symbolism of writing. And you got to understand that this deity played a very important role in the making of secret societies in the Western world, and played a very important role in the Renaissance. Okay, in the Renaissance, in the Renaissance in Europe. Okay, so you have a figure, a Greek person coming out, right, saying that they're giving this Atlantean myth, right? It was Aristotle. And one thing you need to know about Aristotle is that Aristotle was the teacher of Alexander, who came in and conquered Egypt. All right, so do you think for 1 minute that they had love for ancient Egypt if they want to come in and conquer and pillage? You understand what I'm saying? These people didn't have no love for ancient Egypt. So you got to understand that was the beginning of the whitewash. That was the beginning. Alexandria, the Alexander time period. Okay, you gotta dig in. You gotta do some research, because you will realize that, through Alexander, these people have been plotting, for a while to be able to come in and desecrate that land. And desecrate that land. And when I say desecrate that land, I know that people like Alexander, felt and seen himself as an Egyptian, but unfortunately, he wasn't an Egyptian, and therefore, since he wasn't an Egyptian, and since he wasn't of that group of people, it's inevitable that great changes are going to be made. And it's inevitable that understandings of what is called the mystery system, these people, he didn't have no knowledge of it. They had a very minuscule understanding of the profound knowledge and information, of the ancient Egyptians. And the only European I'm saying artist, the only European literature, right, that I've ever read that actually goes into that is Swallow de Lupez. Swallow de Lupez, he holds no punches in claiming that the Greeks brought a problem into ancient Egypt far as the true knowledge and understanding goes. Okay, he said that they brought in rational thought, okay, in which the ancient Egyptians was tapped into something much higher, which is tried to be explained through the Gnostic tradition. Okay, when they talk about gnosis, okay, this is what they mean when they talk about gnosis. The best way that we can kind of understand it in today's term would be intuition. Okay, that knowing, something that you just know. It's not something that you have to think about in your mind and figure out which is the best option. There is no thinking. It's just a knowing. Okay, you know, there's certain things that we do in life that involves no thinking. We do it automatically because we know it. All right, and this is the type of knowledge that Swaller de Lupez claims that the ancient Egyptians had, and this was the meaning behind the symbolism that it evoked knowing. It's not a rational thing. Okay, so it's a really deep thing. Okay, when you dive in to the information that way. All right, it's a really deep thing. But back to the Atlantis thing. So you have Aristotle, the teacher of Alexander. Alexander comes in, right, and he rules Egypt, all right, and set to make himself a god. Okay, because you got to understand, prior to that, most of the time, if I'm not mistaken, the pharaohs was not a god. Okay, they wanted to be one with the god. They was a son of a god. All right. There was a son of a god, but they wasn't a god. Okay. And you know, and so, you know, Alexander come in and he wants to be deified. All right, he wants to be deified. He wants to be a god. So, you know, these little things like this can just give you an understanding of really what you're dealing with. And then you got to remember, you know, this man comes in and he conquers Egypt. And who was his teacher? Aristotle. All right. So these people supposedly sat at the feet of ancient Egyptians. All right. And now, you know, and just to give you a backdrop, basically, when I was talking about the stolen legacy, basically all of those Greek scholars or philosophers that they attribute, a lot of those people probably never existed. That's not saying that none of them never existed, but a lot of that stuff is made up, you know. And so now fast forwarding back to Aristotle, who was the teacher of Alexander the Great, right? And Alexander the Great came in, conquered Egypt, changed things in Egypt, wanted to make himself a god, okay? And through him came the deity Serapis, all right, who took the place of Osiris. And now, if you study ancient Egypt, you know the importance of Osiris. You know what I mean? You know what Osiris means to that culture, right? All right, so he took the place of Osiris. He made a deity in his image that was a mixture between Osiris and Apis. All right, and it was called Serapis, and Serapis took the place of Osar. All right, and he was with Isis, right? He was Isis' new consort. All right. And Isis is the mother goddess, okay? And this, as you can see, comes all the way down to the Mary concept, all right? And I'll talk more about this whole Alexander thing because there's a lot of information there that needs to be explained. And so Aristotle is his teacher, okay? Aristotle is his teacher. Now, that's something that you know, you got to really, really absorb that and take that in. Aristotle is his teacher. Man, I'm running out of time. Aristotle is his teacher. So he comes in and he rules Egypt. But Aristotle is the creator of the legend of Atlantis. Aristotle is the creator of the legend of Atlantis. And he supposedly, which I believe it's a lie, right? I believe it's a lie. He said that ancient Egyptian priest told him about this mysterious island that used to exist. I forget which ocean, somewhere off, somewhere in the ocean, that actually went under to a natural disaster, right? And this group of people supposedly started the ancient Egyptian civilization. Now, why is this important? Why is this important? Because one, it's out of Africa. the group of people is not African, so it makes them feel a lot better, okay? Because this group of people who are a million years ahead of us, who gave us civilization, who helped us so much in everything that we do and know today, right? They're not, you know, okay, this takes it out of the fact that they're not African. So you got to understand that when these people came in and seen the civilization of ancient Egypt compared to their own, it was like night and day. It was like seeing an alien civilization. It was like going to another planet. It was almost unbelievable. It was captivating of the mind, as much as it still is today. Okay, so just imagine seeing it live in the flesh. These monuments is captivating today. Imagine it, seeing it live in the flesh. All right, so you know, once these people got a whiff of this civilization, they start getting their stuff together. Okay, now they want to come back and they want to conquer and they want to take over this land, because you can start to see the hate, the secret hate that they have for this group of people, right? The secret hate that they have for this group of people. The secret hate that they have for this group of people. So you got to understand that the legend of Atlantis is the beginning of the whitewashing of true African history, which was all started by Aristotle. That's why I don't rock with Aristotle. You know what I'm saying? That's why I don't rock with Aristotle. I got knowledge to make Aristotle sound like a baby. You crazy? I send that hater straight to Hades. All right. So, you know what I mean? So that's what you got to understand. So fast forward all the way to today. If you see a so-called melanated teacher talking about Tahuti is from Atlantis, oh, his teaching license needs to be revoked. If you have a melanated person speaking about Tahuti coming from Atlantis, his teaching license needs to be revoked, because he is misguiding, misteaching, and it's either two things. He either is an agent or he literally is not a scholar. Okay, so it's either the two. This guy's either an agent or he's not a scholar. All right, and if you listen to somebody that's not scholarly, then you're dumb right along with them. All right. Or either he's an agent. It's three things. Either he's an agent, either he's a scholar. Either he's an agent, or he's just not a scholar. Basically, he's not intelligent like that, or he's a scammer. So those are three options. You know, those are three options. He's either an agent, or he's not that intelligent. He's not a scholar, or he's a scammer. All right, those are your three options. And so, you know, why is all this important? Because, and I'm going to have to pick this back up because I got to go. So why this is important? Because Tahuti plays a big part in, Tahuti plays a very big part. The guy you got calling Thoth, he plays a very big part in the Renaissance and the uprising of European culture. All right, because when the Catholic Church was putting the clamps on everything, these scholars was getting their hands on Hermetic works. And these Hermetic works was based on Thoth, Tahuti, Hermes, Trismegistus, who liberated their mind from the muck and mire, you know what I mean? And these people was getting the ammunition and the knowledge that they needed to try to get them out of the situation that they found themselves in through the church. That's why Tahuti is so powerful. All right, but if this concept liberated their minds, started the Renaissance, was one of the major factors that started secret societies that we know of today, that paved the way for the world that we live in and the country that we stay in today as of USA. Do you know how important that is? And so, you know, I can see why take him out of Africa. I can see that. All right. So you know, obviously I'm not the one, but y'all gonna, you know, a lot of y'all is being misled and misguided out there. You know what I'm saying? I'm understanding the wickedness in this thing. I understand that everybody is not playing fair. I understand that, you know, the streets is everywhere. You know, the streets is, you know, it's filthy, grimy, dirty motherfuckers in the street. You know what I'm saying? And that's just the way that the world is, you know, and everybody is not filled with light. You know what I'm saying? And everybody is not going to spew out light. Some people are going to be filthy, dirty people. You know what I mean? And that's just the world we live in. So I'll try my best to get this truth out. You know, I'm gonna need y'all help. You know what I mean? And yeah, I'll come back. Peace.